Satellite communication. So the satellite communication is a mode of transmission of the signal between transmitter and receiver via satellite. That's the basic thing you have to know. So here you have a earth, then here this is transmitter and this end is receiver. Here you will be having the satellite. Okay. So radio frequency waves travels from the ground base station from the earth towards the satellite. This satellite is located in the geostationary orbit. So the signal goes to satellite. The satellite receives the signal, amplifies the signal because the signal will be very big, and once again retransmits to the receiving end. This is receiver, which is also located in the earth surface. Okay, now this is called uplink. Okay, and this is called downlink. So what are the important points that you have to remember? First point is, from the earth surface there will be a base station from the earth. The signals are transmitted towards the satellite. The satellite receives the signals, and that link is called uplink. It receives the signals, amplifies the signals, once again retransmits the signals to the earth, that is receiving end, receiver, and this is called downlink. The important point what you have to observe is the uplink frequency and the downlink frequency are totally different. The uplink frequency is from 5925 to 6425 megahertz, and the downlink frequency is 3700 to 4200 megahertz. That means in terms of gigahertz, it is 5.925 gigahertz to 6.425 gigahertz. Downlink frequency will be 3.7 gigahertz to 4.2 gigahertz. Why the uplink frequency is always higher than the downlink frequency? Just because when frequency increases, attenuation also increases. Therefore, what happens is this system has to receive the signal, process the signal, and once again it has to retransmit. The power availability in the satellite is less when compared to the base station. Okay. Therefore, after recovering the incoming signal, it has to retransmit. Here the frequency is low, therefore the attenuation is low, therefore the signals can very well travel to the receiving end without any problem, without any disturbance. That's why uplink frequency is always greater than downlink frequency. Now what type of modulation being employed in satellite system? It is called APSK, amplitude phase shift keying. That means this modulation scheme, already you have studied amplitude modulation, frequency modulation and phase modulation. But this is a combination of both amplitude and phase. But it is in digital domain. Whereas you have studied analog modulation techniques, this is digital modulation techniques. So amplitude phase shift keying is the modulation scheme employed in satellite communication system. That is another point. So this satellite is positioned in the geostationary orbit. So whenever, see if in the location map, if you have India and it wants to capture the signals and retransmit to India means this also has to rotate along with the geographical orientation of position of India. That's the meaning. Therefore, it has to rotate capturing or point to point contact with the India. Okay, so that is one thing we have to remember, and this is positioned in geostationary orbit. So now everything is over. Now what are the uses of satellite? So with satellite communication, you can have a wide range of coverage, and uh, because when you see at a different from a very high end, and if you look down, means the area of the coverage will be very high. So that is the greatest advantage of satellite communication system. So what are the things we can do with satellite communication? First thing is applications. First is weather satellites. So we have weather satellites. So weather satellites. Weather satellites. So using weather satellites, this indicates whether the particular area or region on the earth surface, we can find out whether it is going to rain or some hurricane cyclones is going to happen. Then it can pre-warn, it can find easily the cloud density, and therefore it can inform well earlier so that we can be prepared to be ready to handle such kind of situations. So that's why those satellites meant only for reporting the weather conditions of a particular region, then we call it as weather satellites. So here again, the density of the clouds or the plain weather, normal weather can be easily found out, and thereby it can compute and tell whether it is going to rain or some hurricanes or cyclones is going to happen. Such kind of pre-warning can be done very easily with weather satellites. Next we have communication satellites. Communication satellites. So with the communication satellites, you can transmit from one end to the other end, like television signals, um, biomedical signals. Um, like that, you can use radios, internet, television, all kind of um, communication signals can be transmitted to the satellite and sent back to the other region. That is communication satellites. For example, if something is happening in US, those information can be uploaded, uplinked to the satellite, and we can see in India. That is easily possible with the help of communication satellites. Then we have navigation satellites. So in navigation satellites, what happens is this guides the ship to travel and reach the particular destination without any problem. So these are employed to determine the geographic location of ships, aircrafts, or any other object. That is the use of navigation satellites. Whatever may be the name of the satellites, the functionality is going to be the same. What is the functionality? The signals are uplinked with the higher frequency and downward with lower frequency. I told you why it is like that, because in uplink frequency, um, if the frequency increases, attenuation increases. Therefore, you can give more power from the transmitter side, whereas After the signal received by the antenna, once again it converts the entire information into some other range of frequency, that is called downlink frequency. So the only when the signal frequency is lower, the attenuation will be less and the signal can easily reach the receiving end, and we have seen the applications of satellites. Hope you have understood this topic. Thanks for watching.